Go.
Well,
Good morning.
good morning. And who I am is the same as what I am. Pretend. But no, my name is Carl, and oh, it's getting coming down. Isn't it? My name is Carl, and I come from Wales. Lovely sunny valleys of Wales. Oh, thank you. And
Which part?
it's South Wales. It's just north of Cardiff, so we don't tell people Cardiff area. It's a little
Right.
village called Caerphilly. It's a
Oh,
wonderful
right.
castle.
Yeah.
Lots of something called cheese, and it's a beautiful, beautiful town. But I'm going to say I'm biased from there. And why we come down here on Sundays, drive down here in the car, and stay here. Come at Speaker's Corner all
You're with
day.
your family?
Yeah, we bring my wife and my son. My son is homeschooled, so he comes out here to speak to adults and see him and watch his daddy talk. The reason I come here is because I have something different to every single one of these poses down here. And that is something new, authentic, and original. These are all telling the same stories I was told in Sunday school, and the same stories I'm told on the news and stuff. Why I come down here today is to tell them something a little bit different. You see, I don't see the world the way other people see it. Some people call me autistic. There's other versions of what people call me. But at the moment, what I'm doing is I'm coming down here as a metaphysician. Now, a metaphysician is better known as, in simple terms, people who discover what makes what. And what I've come down is to hear people rant and rave about subjective claims and just stuff like that. And everybody here is talking about things without actually realizing that all their authorities come from a subjective thing called good and evil. I have lots of different things, like I can objectively tell the world what God is. So if you're an atheist, understand God is real, it's the only thing that can be real. Being an atheist is illogical because I don't believe in subjective gods like the religions teach you. But the word God itself is a title, like all words, and it's given to that which has the greatest authoritative power over all things, or that which has authoritative power over all things, and in reality we call that truth. Most people, especially atheists, I say, can you deny or refute my God without using it? So they have to then refute God without using truth, or claim that somehow truth isn't God, which is difficult for them to do. But I don't believe God is good. See, good is a subjective, one half of a coin. The other half is evil. If God is not the coin, then how can he be God? So I come down here to not really poke fun, but to have good faith heckling. So I heckle in good faith, I justify the things I say. I don't say things just to upset people, I don't believe in that. I'd rather just learn what they want to know. But when they're trying to teach me the same thing I've been taught for 44 years, it didn't stick in school, didn't stick in anything really, I just switch off and want to tell them, look, there's no such thing as good and evil, it's a control measure. People use it to send armies to war, to manipulate the masses, to get you to fight each other. And that's why they use this very highly divisive spiritual tool. What is good and evil? I understand we have an innate essence, all of us, to know what you ought to and ought not to do, but you're not born with that. These are things that are taught to you. When you learn if I knew or born with a notion of what I ought not to do, I wouldn't have put a happy shopper bag over my shoulders and jumped off the local shed, thinking I could fly like a parachute. No, I learned when I fell and hurt myself and run home like an idiot, and my mum told me off. I learned that, hey, jumping off sheds with a carrier bag tacked to you doesn't make you fly. Now I know some of you are thinking, well, why didn't you know that as a child? So because I was 4 or 5, I was having fun, I was learning. I didn't understand. I didn't understand rules until I was like 7, and they started making sense to me. And that's another thing I like to do down here. I like to tell people, you were never born. You made an imaginary friend called mine, Carl, and then you found out the whole world and your mum preferred Carl, your imaginary friend, over you. So I just pretended to be Carl for the rest of my life, like all of you have. And one day you're all going to realise you're not your imaginary friend, you just made him up. And you're the real thing behind. And just because the whole world preferred your imaginary friend over you, you've been lost in solitude your entire life. So I've come down just to shake things up. I'm going to be here every week speaking to Christians. I don't think there's a Christian here. Every Christian here is a Judeo-Christian, meaning they follow the same law of good and evil. I don't follow that. I follow all the Christian teachings, but not the ethics. The ethics to me is coherence, truth. I don't look at good and evil, I look at illness and things ought not to do through civil actions and civil laws. Civil laws are put in place, like we don't want to, I won't use the dreaded M words, but we don't want to end each other's, existences, or we don't want to, we don't want to abuse vulnerable people that don't want to be abused. And there's many areas that can happen, from adult females to little children, and we won't say any more now, you can use your imaginations. But these are not evils, they're illnesses, they're confusions, traumas in an individual. When we take that human part away from a human and replace it with a fictional notion like evil, that none of us can objectively say what it is. Your evil is different to my evil, to everybody. Well, I don't have it, but you get what I'm saying. Everybody's evil. So if you all have a version of evil that you judge separately, doesn't that make confusion? How is that logical? If we can't be taught in school an objective definition of what good and evil is, stop using it, because what they're trying to do is they're getting you to be the bad guy in a sense, by claiming, hey, you get to judge, not God, not a strict definition, none of that. You judge, and then what that does, it creates tribalism, it creates wars, it creates division. And then the same thing then will happen all the time because you use it to justify. So if you use good and evil to justify logic and truth, then you'll always use subjective terms. Basically, all you're doing is you're replacing the three laws of logic with one law, the law of excluded middle. You're not saying there's a middle to good and evil, but there is. There's an invisible, it's called versus. Good is always in versus to evil. And that's the way they want it, it's the way it's designed. And yet, it was designed, it's not natural. Animals don't know what it is. Nobody understands what this is. I haven't had a person in 44 years tell me what good and evil is. And now we're offering, it's up to 7,000 now, but we tell them 1,000 down here because we can't get access to the 7 just yet. They've gone away. But we have to £7,000 offering people, and nobody's won it yet. What good and evil is, or anything like that. Because
you mentioned the word God. How does that represent itself for you?
well, all words are words. They have to have a definition. Most people argue over a sound and a spelling, but they don't actually tell you what that word actually means. To me, the word God is a label you give to that which has the highest authoritative power. So that which has authoritative power over all things is God. Wouldn't that fit the definition? Something had power over all things. And in reality, not in definition now, because that's a logical definition. And by the way, it's an objective definition, because if it's logical, it means no other definition of God can exist without this God's permission. So it trumps out as an objective God if it's real. But in reality, does it link to something? Well, yeah, truth. Truth has authority of all things, not your truth as a point of view. When people go, my truth, your truth, no, there's no such thing. The law of identity says truth is truth. It cannot be anything else. And therefore, the only truth there is the one with authority. And that is the same truth that taught me you can't fly with a happy shopper bag on your thing. The authoritative truth of nature. We call it objective truth. But to be honest, there's no such thing as objective truth or subjective truth. They are human terms, so we understand the truth that we think is there is subjective. It's not really truth, it's a point of view. And then objectively, we say a truth that doesn't matter whether you see it or not, it's always going to be there, like for gravity or something like that, yeah?
So
God,
you believe in a creator?
It depends if you mean what you mean by creator. Obviously, I believe truth created everything.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
in the sense, yeah, truth would be the creator. What else would create anything other than truth? If everything obeys truth. So I'll say to anybody that doesn't believe in God, I claim God is the highest authoritative power in all of existence, and in reality there is such thing that matches it. We call it truth. I'm not saying God is truth. God has his own definition. It's like Charles is King Charles, yeah? He's called Charles. But he's also the king. He's also a human. There are many tags and labels we put on it. The word God is sacred because we're saying we can't question it, and we must obey it. Everyone, you, me, everyone. If you don't think that's so, fly. Just jump and fly. See what happens. God will say no. That's what's saying no. My God. Now, in our way of looking at things, we break God down into three laws normally, and we call it logic. And we use logical reasoning for for formulas and things that we build with this logic. Now, I'm saying to you that if you have something in your life called truth, you marry for it, do you find truthful friends? Do you want your kids to be truthful? Everything is about truth. Would you marry a woman that lies to you or tells you the truth? Or a male, or man, sorry, I'm just going to say it from my point of view. You're going to look for someone that's going to tell you the truth. Logic, Christ, the three laws of the Trinity, leads to truth. So when Christ says, I am the way, I'm the light, he's saying, my method, my knowledge is the way. Based on these laws. Back then, they only used logic was based on the law of excluded middle. It's either right or it's wrong, or something like that. And yeah, that has a part of logic, but it has to be matched with the other two laws to get a true essence of what it is, the Trinity. And they will lead you to truth. Most of these individuals are not Christians really, they're Judeo-Christians, or I call Jews, not Jews. They believe in good and evil. How is there Trinity in good and evil? That's duality. That's saying, I believe God is good. They all believe God is good, but God is subjective, so their God is fake. they have two gods, a good God and an evil God they call the devil. But the devil is not a God, he's just as powerful as God and created by God, but God has no control over him. And
So where do you get your truth from?
logic and reasoning, things, my truth comes from, like, you can call it a scientific method and all that, but it just has some baggage to it. I jump, I can't fly. There you go, it's true, I can't fly. I didn't need anything for that. And then I build things up, and then I coherently say to you things like, well, for example, did the laws of logic and science and everything create everything you have there? Yes, they did. Your TV you're watching on now, the law of logic helped create this. Science, all formal systems, all based on the same truth that is objective reality. Either there's truth or there's no truth. If you believe there's a truth, awesome, you're in the same realm as me, you believe in a God. But if you don't believe there's a truth, then why are you arguing? Does it matter? Why do you even care? There's no truth. You know, the world's upside down, swim through the air, whatever. But those who understand there is an objective truth, because there's an authority that says I can't fly, that runs everything and makes everything work. We call it truth. Now I know that's our word that we make up for it, but we're still labeling something that's real, it's there, and what we're doing is a system of implying what's in here subjectively to what's out here objectively, and when we find something that matches, we go, there we go, and then we find the evidence to go where we say empirical, objective truth. That matches reality, we can say that's true. Can we all test this? Yes. Can we all agree it's true? Most people agree yes. So we create tests and methods by which we can test if something is true. I'll normally test if something's true in my head, if I think it's true, and I'll test it. I'll align it with myself and see it. I still don't believe it's the truth. That's why I believe in divine faith. To believe in the truth would make me God. But if I can get coherence as close as possible to what I believe to be true, so people understand what I'm saying, people understand my instructions, people can communicate with me, we can build together, we can construct, there's so many different things. Knowledge is all based on truth, right?
Do you think the people who come here are looking for the truth?
I think some people might be looking for the truth. If we're talking about individuals who are filming, some might be, but I think most of you are here to push their truth.
And how do these people react to you when you tell them your version of the truth?
It's very strange really, because they're not expecting it. It's new. They can't attack it because I bring logic and reason to a logical and reasonable crowd today. I wouldn't have succeeded back in the day. The world would have been too subjective, the internet wouldn't be there, AI, things. But any one of them can pull out a phone and write in what I'm saying, and the AI will tell them, no, listen to the crazy dude, not the Christians. He's aligning things with logic, formal systems, they can be proved by psychology. When he's saying that the Bible teaches you Adam, Eve and the serpent as archetypes of consciousness, and then Adam intellect, Eve intuition, and the serpent instinct, lining it with objective reality, logos. And in the Bible, like Genesis, it's just teaching you how human consciousness is formed in your first 7 days, 7 years. And when I tell people like that, because it matches reality, and there's psychological studies that match everything I'm saying, I can just tell them, look into look at AI and ask them that. Now, one thing I've created, which I've done for myself, is I've worked 3 years on building something, and the last 6 months I put it all together. It's a 330-page document I call the Bronze Relic right now, and they are academic papers built from an autistic mind. They're helped with AI to make them coherent, and now I've designed them in a huge package for anybody to download a free PDF from my X site, put it into AI. It's all free. I discovered all this stuff. I didn't claim it to be mine.
What's that website?
It's just on X. We've got a link for people to have it. If you on X, I haven't linked the name on X. I'm down as like
it's
Jesus,
okay. We'll
Jesus
Pantheon
or something like that. I'll give you the links for it. But if you go on there, or I can actually you've got a link, can you? I'll just drop you a link straight to the Dropbox. People can have it, anybody a link and access it. You get it, download it, read it if you want. You can read the whole thing. It's I wrote it, so you can read it. And I'm illiterate. I use AI to help me with words and spellings and stuff. But if you put this into AI, it was just designed to do. You can ask it if it's been tricked or anything. It'll tell you in AI. Will tell you if the document is telling it to say something. But it's not. It should tell you, no, these are just the workings of somebody who claims to be a neuroequilibric that sees reality from a different aspect, and they've literally, they've got a working system here. I put in several times, it says, your system is greater than all human systems at the moment, and it should be worked upon. That's a fact. But without a stage to show people this, which is why I come here, I can't prove it. So my job now is to prove all my claims. That's why I'm here, and I'll be here for a while now, and next few months at least, when I come back and forth every week. And I want to prove all my claims. I'm not here just to make them, I'm here to prove them. And I have multitude of like relics coming down. We have our own fictional books, which I'll give you a free copy of yourself. You can read it. It's called The Fable of the Three Little Pigs. It's an hour read tops. Lovely big book, huge, lovely writers, all things broken down like that. 2-page chapters, beautiful. The original Three Little Pigs have been put into a fable that involves 4 brothers. You will get it, it's all to do with words and how they're used and to control people and manipulate, and how wolves' illnesses are formed and stuff. And it's got a nice little like spiritual element in it at the end, where we introduce a 4th pig or 4th brother who doesn't really become a pig, but like he learns to build his people and his language based on reality, not his own desires. The whole book is great, and within it we put like a Da Vinci Code style quest in there, that when we actually publish the book, we're going to release it with £1 million for the first person to solve it, which will hopefully be soon, but that's in the pipeline. Show next time. But yeah, to answer your question, I think people down here to give their version of the truth, seek a version of the truth.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
But at best, I've not come here to really attack anybody. I come here to
Do you
work with
actually
people.
learn anything when you come here? Off these people?
I will. I've already, even been here today, I've learned a lot. But I learn every time I come here what other people think and how they react to me. That's what I want to learn. My main thing is how they react to me and the things I say.
So what would you call yourself? Are you a New Age thinker or a...
Well, I wouldn't call myself anything, but what is best described to me is, if you look at it as an academic level, I would be described as a metaphysician. But if you look at it as just a normal spiritual level, you would call me like a Gnostic Christian. I'm not Judeo. I don't believe in good and evil, right? I don't believe in dualist aspects. I believe in the Trinity.
So you look for the wisdom in the book, but you don't actually go along with the main theme of the story.
When I read the Bible, I look at a word and I say, is this an objective word or subjective word? Like it says, in the beginning.
And when I read allegorical like.
But when I read it, I don't read it in the beginning. I say at the source.
Yeah.
And when I read God, I read authority of truth.
Yeah.
When I read the archetypes like Adam, Eve, and all that, I look at what in human does this pattern fit, and it fits perfectly to the building of psychological perceptions, psychological perceptions within your consciousness that are formed through the awarenesses you grow into from God.
Yeah.
When they say God the Father, they are literally talking about the way in which, look, there's only been one father in my life, and that is the one that taught me what I could and couldn't do.
Yeah.
I did have a father that taught me what was right and wrong and good and evil, how to shut up and do as he said, not as he did, even though I was a child and didn't know what he said, but knew exactly. So I grew up in such a way that it was so confusing, and I had a bad start in life. So my father tried to kill me at birth, beat my mum up. I think my mum let it happen because he didn't want a child, but they saved my life when my mum went into the hospital. I was in hospital for about a month. They brought us out. I had us on O-negative blood to save my life, and then Christmas.
So all of that has brought you to where you are today.
Well, all of that has brought me where I am today, but it's not just that. That is like a teeny weeny bit of everything that's here. The thing that's brought me here today is I did have a little bit of a breakdown when I was 38 because I couldn't coherently make the world work and everything was piling on top of us.
Yeah.
My whole family sort of left us. My mum didn't want me to go to the funeral. I lost all my friends and everything because when I restarted again, I refused to believe any of my education was true. I wanted to start again. And for a long time I started again. I just used one rule to get me by because I could always be mistaken. As long as I believed I could always be wrong or mistaken, then I was okay to start again because it meant I was willing to learn.
And where are you now in terms of fitting in to this strange world that we're living in?
I'm starting to fit in a lot better because I'm starting to have a lot more empathy for those who don't think like me, because now I've built a coherent bridge to be able to listen and be more patient with people. Awful at this still. You'll see me apologising a lot because I need to learn that still. My patience is one thing I'm planning to learn more than anything down here. My patience is the thing that pulls me down the most. I keep calling it my patience, so it's for people to listen to. The patience I act upon, and so that is the act by which I want to practice the most whilst being down here.
Well, thanks for talking to me, and I hope I get a chance to talk to you again.
Oh,
that's been really nice, mate. Sorry, what's your name again?
It's Carl, and in the future when we come down here, we're going to bring thousands of pounds down here, and we're going to make 12 claims: God is real, sin is real, love is real, all these things, and offer anybody who can change our mind or our perception the money. And look forward to doing that.
Well, I'll look forward to taking that money off you.
I hope you do try. I hope you try.